So the objective of the Think Tanks and Civil Societies program is to increase the capacity and the role and impact of think tanks around the world. Our effort is global, it is transnational, transpolitical, and transdisciplinary. So as reflected in the 85 think tanks that are here in Morocco, in Marrakesh, which is the largest gathering of think tanks in Africa to take place thus far. So it is a tremendous outpouring of institutions working together to strengthen their capacity and also their impact so that they can better serve governments and the people throughout Africa. That is our global objective. We work and have had and continue to have summits of think tanks in every region of the world, and they are responding to the same challenges, which are global challenges facing civil society and facing think tanks themselves. The reality is that think tanks need to be better, smarter, and faster in order to better serve the governments and people in the countries where they operate. Well, in terms of Africa faces a number of challenges, and unfortunately, because of changing priorities of the donor countries, it is possible that 30% of the think tanks that operate in Africa may disappear in the next 5 years. And so it is a great concern I have, a sense of urgency to help not only strengthen the existing institutions so they can be sustainable, and that is the focus of this summit, creating a sustainable future for think tanks in Africa. Additionally, is to mobilize both governments and donors to think about the implications of declining funding for think tanks and what that will mean for governments and civil societies in Africa. Africa faces a number of challenges. The institutions tend to be smaller, with smaller staffs and budget, and very fragile. And so the effort is how to build the capacity, how to strengthen the institutions so that they can be sustained well into the future. Because the needs, and for me, the reason why I'm so passionate about it and see that it is so important in Africa is the fact that the need is greatest in this continent. And I am troubled by the fact that donors are moving away from supporting think tanks in the continent. Well, specifically, and I think quite urgently, is develop and come to agreement on specific strategies that will help sustain African think tanks well into the future. And also to develop cooperative partnerships among and between the key institutions in the region. The problems that African think tanks face, and the reason why the response is so great to this meeting, is the fact that individual institutions and countries cannot address the problems that the institutions faced alone, and it is through partnerships, strength in numbers, that will make the difference and help sustain think tanks in Africa well into the future. I think the issue of strengthening institutions, key institutions like think tanks and other civil society groups to build for a prosperous and equitable society in Africa.